One of the most legendary franchises sure looks like it's headed to Nintendo Switch very soon, and I couldn't be more excited because conveniently, this is my favorite franchise of all time.
And my freaking favorite! I still have the original Bioshock Collector's Edition Big Daddy right here, and this is a heavy weapon. You could definitely take someone out with it. It weighs a ton, but it's nice to have a much bigger version, the bigger brother, the bigger daddy.
What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and Bioshock is coming to Switch. First, we saw that Bioshock the Collection was rated on the Taiwanese rating board. But since then, it's been rated in Brazil and Korea. We've got a triple jam of ratings. It sure seems like this thing is happening, and it makes a lot of sense. 2K loves how Civ 6 worked out on Switch. It did incredibly well. It was very successful, and they've wanted to do more with the platform since. What better set of games than Bioshock? Not only are they fan favorites, they'll run really good on Switch, and they'll be great on the go. It'll be a nostalgic journey for those of us that love the franchise, and they're plenty good enough games to appeal to players that haven't played them yet. This is a match made in heaven, and one that I am jumping through the roof for. It's good news, and we've had so much bummer news in gaming lately. It feels like every single game is getting delayed. Avengers, Final Fantasy VII, Cyberpunk 2077, Iron Man VR, the entire Ubisoft lineup. It just goes on, and yes, Nintendo has fallen victim to 2020 delays as well. You may not remember it, but Animal Crossing New Horizons initially was a 2019er, and now it's a 2020 title. Doom Eternal was a 2019er, pushed to 2020, and who knows when in 2020. That thing doesn't even have a date. So it's great to see, hey, a game is coming rather than being taken away. Plus, I love these to death. I'm not the biggest fan of ports. We know it's going to be a pretty heavy port year on Switch. Emily Rogers has said as much, and so have others, so I'm trying to just reconcile the fact that there may not be a whole lot new on Switch, save for some of the big first-party titles. But
15,000. Hallelujah.
that moment right there gives me chills still. If that's what happens, at least we're getting the big one. Bioshock is something I've wanted to take on the go forever. And you know, at the beginning of the Switch life cycle, when you loved playing that game on a handheld platform, you're like, wow, this is just magical. I feel like that's really worn off, but for me, Bioshock will bring it back. Some of you may not know that I actually started YouTube 10 years ago on a different channel. I'm not just Zach from SwitchForce, I'm also Ghost Robo. Gasp surprise, I'm sure a few of you have known, but in case you didn't, I played all sorts of games on that channel and have for a decade. And the reason I started that channel honestly stems back to Bioshock. I've loved the game and the franchise ever since. It's my favorite game of all time. The first Bioshock, the journey down to Rapture, the level of intrigue and design, the level of creativity and mechanics, it is gaming perfection to me. But this is a bathysphere, and we are about to behold the underwater paradise gone terribly, terribly wrong. I've thought about what it would be like to actually go to Rapture. Not sure I could do it. I don't know how it would feel. It is what made me want to do this full time. I played Bioshock when it launched. I actually got Toys R Us to give me an early copy back when the rules weren't so strict. I convinced them to sell it to me a week early, and I played through the entire game, and it was magical. I've loved games my entire life, but I went away from them a bit in high school, and Bioshock brought it back. It brought it back, and that led to me creating my YouTube channel. I truly believe that. If it wasn't for that game years later, I would never have started YouTube because it really just catapulted my imagination and my love for gaming to a higher stratosphere. These games are phenomenal. If you haven't seen or played them, you must. It looks like they're bringing the collection to Switch, and in fact, they actually rated all of the games individually as well, so it may be a best of both worlds scenario where you can buy the collection at hopefully a better price, or you can buy them individually. Now, this works out grand if you've played the original Bioshock, but skipped over on Infinite, which people now regard as heavily overrated, but boy oh boy, that's still a phenomenal game. It's the only title I've spent time after its completion, and we're talking like weeks, researching, investigating, digesting, and discussing the plot, the story, the secrets, the intrigue, the mystery, all of it. It was a thrilling adventure when I played, and it was a thrilling adventure beyond, and I think that's what the best games do. They exist in your mind, far beyond their completion. They exist when you're not even holding the controller. Me and my brother discussed what Infinite meant, the lighthouses, the twins, how it all worked together, Booker and Elizabeth, and the multiple realities. And then you got the DLC, and the DLCs in the collection. They're masterpieces. They really are. They take a unique locale, and they've done so much backstory. There's so much lore building here, right? It's not just, hey, there's an apocalypse, what would happen in an apocalypse? Hey, we're on another planet, what would happen on another planet? It's like, no, they've crafted a world where this all really happened, and what would the implications be for technology, for medicine, for humanity? And then they craft these characters. The audio diaries are phenomenal. The sounds, oh my goodness, the audio in general for the game, it's incredible. It will stick with you. There are keys and notes from that game that I still hear in my head on a regular basis. The combat is solid. The mechanics grow as the franchise evolves. You go from a gun to being able to have a gun and a plasmid, to being able to do a whole lot more with a basically co-op character in Elizabeth. It really is a wonderful progression. And there's just so many, like, the hairs stick up on the back of your neck moments, because they really get into your psyche. They do so much. They make you make difficult decisions, and they put together phenomenal performances. These games were crafted by geniuses. You can see the level of artistry and design. It's from an era where it was more about making a phenomenal ride. They wanted to take you on a journey rather than say, here's a sandbox. It's not a 100-hour game. You can't do everything. There actually was online multiplayer at one point, but I don't believe it's part of the collection. The servers are long gone. But they didn't try to do it all. They just said, what can we do so well, and how well can we do it? They're memorable experiences. I cannot wait for the 4th. They just announced a new studio, and that they're working on the 4th. Hey, maybe if we get a Switch Pro and this collection does really well, maybe we'll even get the 4th on Switch as a multi-platform release. No promises. That would be a whole lot of hope. But right now, this is quickly risen to one of my most anticipated Switch games, and it makes sense because there's hardly anything announced for Switch. And this isn't technically announced, but when you have ratings across different country boards like this, and when you see so many people saying, yeah, this is coming and it's happening soon, and it just logically makes sense. This isn't a pie in the sky idea. This is 2K, who's had success with other IP working really well on Switch, bringing something else that is outstanding and one of their fan favorite properties to a really successful platform in a year where it's leading up to new consoles and people are just jonesing for things to play, especially given the delays. I hope that this comes out before this summer. I would love to see it announced in an upcoming Direct. Maybe this actually is another piece of the wins the next real Direct puzzle. We got the Smash Direct, we got the Pokemon Direct. The real Direct has to be coming probably in February, and maybe this is a piece of it. Nintendo loves to announce these third-party titles like Wolfenstein and Doom and Skyrim. They love to put them in there. And maybe they'll put this one in there and say, hey, we may not have a million new Nintendo games to show off, but we do have Bioshock. It's such a different look and feel than Rapture, isn't it? Like, it's pristine, it's golden, it's gilded in a sense of just absolute bliss. It hasn't been torn to shreds by splicers, but boy oh boy are there problems. These really mean so much to me. And I love that they're bringing them, and I can play them in my pocket, I can replay them, I can go through them. I'll be playing them on my Switch freaking Lite. Yeah, you can obviously play them on the OG Switch, and if there's eventually a Switch Pro, they'll probably look as they should because the remastered edition does bring everything to 1080p, unlike PS4 and Xbox One, and it probably won't look near as good on the Switch, but they should be totally competent ports. These aren't groundbreaking new games, but they were groundbreaking, and I still believe they're groundbreaking from a design standpoint, even if the technical side of things may not amaze you. What they do with story, what they do with mechanics, and how they merge the world together, and how they just completely immerse you in this society, this culture, where different things matter, where ideas took hold, and it shaped the populace, it shaped the creativity, it shaped the way that things run. And when you play through them all, you'll see the interwoven threads and how they connect. And you'll really begin to wonder, goodness gracious, will anything ever reach these heights? I could write love letters to Bioshock, because to me, Bioshock is my love letter to gaming. It's everything I love about this medium, and it's fantastic. And I hope that we get it soon, and I hope you guys have a chance to play it. Let me know if you're gonna get on board with Bioshock, the collection, in the comments down below. I really hope they do, like, hey, you can get all of them for 40 or each for 20 or something like that. I hope it's not a case of, like, it better not be $60 full price game and then even more for them individually. I would love to see it be a little less, Never say never with Switch. They love to put things at full price, although 2K has put Civ 6 on sale a lot, so maybe we will get a good deal. I'd love to see, like I said, these each for 20 separate. That way you can buy piecemeal and also just the collection and put it out on a cart. I'd love to have a Switch cart of Bioshock that's something like Nintendo Bioshock. God, that just, it excites me. And as I said at the top, I love for things to be exciting right now because gaming's feeling a little bit dry. These games are wet. They're also full of air, and they're also fire. So enjoy Bioshock once it's announced. I'll keep you posted the official release date and stuff when it happens, but it sure looks like it's happening. I don't even know that I qualify this as a rumor. It's basically like, hey, it's just been shown on the ratings board, so get ready. It's coming. Until that time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you love Bioshock, if you plan to get the game in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Our pump for 2020 on Switch. What all will it hold? This will be a great first surprise when it does come true. Until then, though, everybody, thanks again. Have a fantastic day. Be good to yourself and others out there. SwitchForce out. Oh god, he's almost dead. Bye. Oh, what? What in the world? He was so dead. That's a joke, right? He died and killed me as he was falling. Did you see that? Okay, Houdini. No.